Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another special edition of the Star Sports Show right here on GracedLife TV. My name is Vanette Zeke Addo, and there isn't any special way to kickstart another season than with the best of the best, Ghana's finest high life artists. We are here to find out about his success story. Today, his silence is broken. And before we start, this show is proudly sponsored by Fox Foods Vegetable Oil. It's a new vegetable oil on the market which is rich in vitamin A and E and contains no cholesterol. The next time you go to the market, is either you choose Fox Foods Vegetable Oil or better still, don't cook. And also by Epiphany Textiles. Epiphany Textiles provide you all kind of fabrics for every kind of occasion. You'll find Epiphany Textiles at Epiphany Textiles on Instagram. Her number will be scrolling down on your screen. We'll be right back. Do stay with us. Right, so on this show, we are interested in finding out about how successful people chart success in their fields and for their success story to serve as a blueprint for the youth. We are here with Uncle Ben Brako. Mr. Bernard George Kobina Brako was born on the 22nd of May 1952 in Cape Coast. Growing up in Cape Coast, he took keen interest in music and entertainment. He attended St. Augustine's College and then proceeded to the University of Ghana, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in agriculture economics. And also he pursued a media and communication studies at the University of East London. Ladies and gentlemen, his single Shame and Scandal topped the global music charts. The list goes on and on. The very best of the best, Ben Brako. Uncle Ben.
Hey.
Are you comfortable with Uncle Ben or?
I'm not really comfortable with Uncle Ben, but people insist on calling me
Uncle Ben.
You know.
Right.
But Uncle is not part of the name given to me. So, I think Ben Brako is fine.
Ben Brako.
Yeah.
I feel some way saying Ben Brako, so I wanted to be like Uncle Ben.
No. First of all, I'm an artist.
Right.
When you relate to me personally and you feel you want to make me an uncle, I'll take it.
Right. But for purposes of this show.
Yeah.
Right. So Ben Brako.
Yes.
Welcome to the GracedLife TV's Star Sports Show.
Okay, thank you, but I'd like to make a little correction.
Right.
The birth date is 20th, not 22nd.
Oh, okay. It's actually 20th.
Yes, 20th. Right. And then you left out one of my names. Bernard George Kobina Chematin Brako.
There's Chematin there?
Yeah.
Right.
My real name is Kobina Chematin.
Kobina Chematin.
Yeah, that's my traditional name.
Right.
But hey.
Right. So thank you so much.
You did a lot of good research.
Right,
I needed to put that in, yes.
Thank you so much. So before we kickstart, we've heard everything growing up in Cape Coast and all the keen interest you took in music and arts and all. How did the whole journey start? What got you into music?
Well, I don't really know. I think I jumped out of the womb, you know, feeling music, you know. Mm-hmm. It's always been like that. But the point is, in my growing up years, mm-hmm. I had a very, very unique experience.
Right.
In the sense that I lived in so many different places. I went to school in so many places, including villages, you know, towns, and cities. Mm-hmm. So I had a very varied experience, and therefore, being musically oriented, I related to a lot of traditional music, right. as well as being a city to international music. So I had a lot of influences that way.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So, so during those stages was when you actually discovered you had the talent to sing at those early ages?
Well, I just assumed I had the talent. I just would do it anyway.
Right.
You know, I didn't know how good I was or how good I wasn't. Mm-hmm. But I did it. Mm-hmm. You know, I would keep singing. I was singing all the time. So people started asking me to sing at functions and stuff like that, you know, and I would just do it.
That's so great.
Yeah.
So the things that used to motivate you to keep writing music and keep making music year after year, has it changed after all? Like,
I don't think it has changed or it can change. I think that music is a natural form of expression for me, and what I experience in life, I try to express in my music.
right.
So long as I'm alive and kicking, I still have the passion for music. That's how it's going to be.
You're still going to do it. So what motivates the writing of your songs? Because we sat with people, they were like, I go and sit at the beach, some say it comes to them from God. And what motivates you to write? That's a deep one.
I think it's just love, you know. I think it's just appreciation of the life, gift of life given, and also of nature. You know, you examine how you are and the nature within which you're born, and you see that it's all beautiful, it's all love, you know, but things don't go always the right way, so sometimes you try to express what you see around you and maybe try to suggest better alternatives sometimes, yeah, but you know, it's just an expression of life.
That's very good.
And love of life, really.
Right. So should we point one thing and call it, that's where you draw your inspiration from? Which could it be?
Love.
Love, right. You have so much love.
I don't mean love like, you know, personal, you know, sexual love. No. I mean love as in
appreciation.
Yeah, as in godliness. Like they say, when they say God is love, it means that everything that's created is created out of love.
Right.
You know.
Right. That's extremely great. And before we proceed, I'd like to let everybody know, like, the humility you are endowed with is so, I don't know the word to give. It should be emulated. You know, when I spoke with you over the phone, I was like, this man is so humble. I'd like to commend you for that.
Thank you, but I don't think it's humility as such. It's not as if I'm trying to, you know,
be nice.
No, this is me. I think that maybe other people raise themselves too much.
Right.
Okay, but naturally, this is how people should be. This is how I am. So anyway,
Great.
I don't think that I'm trying to do things to please anybody. You know.
Great. So now let's move to the business. Let's move to high life music. Was there any particular reason you decided to choose that kind of genre, or because that was what was being, you know, the popular one during your time?
No. I grew up playing cabaret, that is doing other people's music. In secondary school, we had school bands, and we played soul, we played reggae, we played Beatles, we played pop, we played all the popular world music,
right,
including some amount of high life, and even some we called pachanga those days. Okay, so we had that overall exposure, but in coming out with my own music, I realized that this is my natural flair, is to come out with music that reflects me and my origins.
Right.
You see what I mean? I couldn't very well, as a Ghanaian, get up and start doing like pure soul music or pop music, you know, even though I could have done that. But my instincts and my spirit tells me that I should reflect who I am. I think that as a human being, you always have to think and question everything and decide what is the right outlook and approach for yourself.
That's great. All right.
Yeah.
That's great. So comparing high life music then and now.
Well, I think high life has come a long way in many senses, because when I was younger, high life was being snubbed by a lot of the elite, so-called educated English-speaking people who want to live like be international, live an international lifestyle, which they thought to them is the modern lifestyle how to be.
Right.
And it didn't include high life.
Oh,
because high life was considered like for Graceful. That kind of mentality. Yeah. And even I had problems with some of my siblings when I tried to dance to and sing high life. They thought that, what's wrong with you? I mean, this is, So, but, I still felt very strongly about it. And my expressions came best in my own language and in my own rhythm.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Baya album in '87. How did it come about?
Well, Baya has a long thread. I actually started my songwriting career when I was very young, but I never, did it seriously until I was in Legon.
Oh, okay.
Then I started writing songs.
Right,
The songs, yeah. And so after a while, I decided to form a band in the University of Ghana to test out my songs.
Okay.
So formed a group called Agroma Guduriba. And we only played my tracks.
Okay.
Yeah. So we only played like 2 gigs.
On campus?
Yeah. That was it. We only played 2 gigs. Campus, anywhere else in the world, it was just the 2.
Great.
But many years after those 2 gigs, a lot of people still remembered the songs.
Oh, okay.
So I realized that it made an impact.
Right.
And also, it's something that I always do anyway. Music is always part of me. So after a while, I decided that, look, I better do this music thing because I wouldn't like to grow old and be there and keep thinking that, oh, Razi, I mean, I could have done something like this, and I didn't take the opportunity. So I just jumped straight in and then did it.
The Baya album.
Yeah. So those songs I wrote many years ago when I was in, most of those songs I wrote in Legon.
Right. Okay.
Which was like between 71 and 74, 75.
Wow.
That's when I wrote the songs. But I recorded them, as you know, in like 86, 87. Yeah.
In Ghana?
I recorded them, in London.
In London, right. Okay. So still on the notion, on the topic of high life music, considering these high life musicians that we have, high life artists that we have now, do you think they are changing the game at all, or they are sticking to the blueprint that you people created for them?
Nobody sticks to the blueprint.
Right.
Even though some people help to create and expand the blueprint. Okay, because they create something based on inspiration from the original rhythm that is so great that it becomes a part of the blueprint. Like Yamponsa, the rhythm, Yamponsa rhythm, the guitar rhythm, which was a very definitive rhythm for her life, but it was somebody's creation. You understand? So it's like that. Music is dynamic. You cannot be static. It changes, it moves, it goes roundabout. Sometimes it goes far away, then it comes back home, that kind of thing. So you have to allow it that freedom, because creativity implies freedom.
Right. Thank you so much. So back in your days, there was nothing like the internet and social media, because nowadays when an artist records a song, he's able to use social media to promote himself, to do this and to do that. Do you find it hard to keep up with? If yes, what are you doing? If no, how are you going about it?
I find it a little hard to keep up with it.
Right.
It's a lot of work. And then when I ask people to do it too, they sort of tend to misrepresent me.
Right.
It's not easy. And, the other thing is you have to realize that there's the perception, which is the media persona, and then there's the reality.
Right.
Okay, and it's a dynamic balance, because sometimes if you're not careful, you start believing in the perception, which is really just a projection, not you. You understand? And I think that you can easily get lost if you buy into the hype.
Okay.
So it's a very difficult thing. But it's very interesting.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting.
That's great. Okay, so before we go for this short commercial break, which we are going to take one of his songs, my very favorite, Maybe. And most of the artists during your age coming up, they weren't getting money from their craft, but they still pursued. You guys still pursued. What was motivating you guys to still go on, even when the money wasn't coming?
I think that any true artist and creative person will pursue their craft even if they were not being paid.
Great.
You know, it's not about reward. Even though reward is good and sometimes helps you to make your arts and your creativity better, but it's something you would do even if you're not being paid for it.
Right.
So that's a very, marked distinction. Yeah.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have been here talking to Ben Brako, one of the best and finest high life artists in the history of Ghanaian music. We are going for a short commercial break. We'll take one of his songs. When we come back, the conversation still continues. Do stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Papa was a rolling stone. Damn, I hate that song. Ben Brako on the ASEM. Wait there, father and son. Papa was a rolling stone. Damn, I hate that song.
In the town, there was a family with much confusion, as you would see. It was a mama and a papa and a boy who was grown. He wanted to marry, have a wife of his own. He found a young girl that suited him nice. He went to his papa to ask his advice. Papa said, son, I have to say no. This girl is your sister, but your mama don't know.
Whoa, it's me. Shame and scandal in the family. Whoa, it's me. Shame and scandal in the family.
A week went by and the summer came round. Soon the best cook in the town he did find. He went to his papa to name the day. His papa shook his head and to him he did say, you can marry that girl, I have to say no. This girl is your sister, but your mama don't know.
Whoa, it's me.
Okay, late.
Shame and scandal in the family.
ASEM.
Whoa, it's me.
Father and son.
Shame and scandal in the family.
Okay, Papa, I just found out she's late. That's why we getting married. Lord knows I'm a man of faith, but I really hope she miscarries. Cause I can't have a son who's a nephew, and I can't have a niece who's a daughter. Confused, don't know what to do when I'm staring at the ring that I bought her. How do I tell my wife to be that she's also my sister? How do I wipe the memories of all the time that I kissed her? Now you telling me to remain calm, telling me that I can't tell mom. Papa was a rolling stone. Damn, I hate that song.
He went to his mama and covered his head and told her all what his daddy had said. Mama, she laughed, she said, go man, go. Your daddy ain't your daddy, but your daddy don't know. Yeah.
Right, so welcome back. So, like we said in the beginning, I said this is a special edition of the Star Sports Show because the star which we have, the name Star doesn't even qualify him enough. We should get maybe another name above that. So, this is still the Star Sports Show with me, Mr. Z. I'm going to talk about the things that has kept him relevant in the media in his life, like over the years. You won't attest to the fact that so many artists came and in a short span we didn't hear of them again, but he has kept his relevance all these years. We'd like to find out how he did that. Ben Brako. hearing your name from 87, I wasn't there in 87, but coming up and all, your name still resounds with the word authenticity. What has kept you relevant and authentic all these years?
Well, I think that I still flow from the same juices that I started with.
Right.
You know, and the same flames has kept burning in me all this time. It hasn't changed. I think that my motivation and my inspiration and my passions have always remained very high and very relevant. So it means essentially that my success has not changed me.
Right.
I'm still the same person in essence.
Right. That's extremely great. And if there's one message, no, not even one, probably, what message do you want your fans to take from your music?
I just want people to believe in themselves from the basis of who they are. I think that it's a great disservice and insult to your ancestors and progeny for you to reject all their years of hard work that has brought you to this point, you know, in favor of something that is glossy and, you know, foreign. Okay, so it's important that, man, you know yourself, define yourself. But I think that basically life is to be lived, you know, and be happy.
Right.
You know, and to be natural with yourself. You know, happiness is not about acquisitions. Ask people with all the money in the world. They can be very, very miserable.
Right.
Okay? And some people with nothing, you see some of these young people from the villages, see the expression of happiness, you can't buy it.
Right.
You understand? So it is the life itself. Okay? And sometimes we are misled by things that are glossy, but not really life itself.
Right.
So just be natural.
Right.
Just be yourself. But define who you are. Don't just float and follow anything that comes.
Don't just float and follow anything that comes, is what he says you should take from his music. And you've been championing the cause of, you know, patriotism and all, embracing our roots, our culture and all. What message are you trying to communicate exactly with that?
I'm trying to communicate the message that we as a people have a very rich history, rich heritage, rich culture, the most creative people anywhere on this earth. And we've been misled or let ourselves be conned into believing otherwise, that we don't even look at what we have. You know, we don't believe in ourselves, we don't believe in our origins, we don't even believe in our parents. We think that they are old-fashioned, and all this is just a mentality that is created for us, all because of, honestly, it's because of commerce.
Right.
Okay, because everything you choose to do in your daily life, it's an economic choice. You spend money on it. So, like the typical example I gave is, if you want to get married, and everybody at the one point or the other gets married, but whether you do a white wedding or you do your traditional wedding makes a lot of difference in the economy. You know, as to whether you are going to buy import lace or you're going to wear kente, as to whether you're going to drink Pito, palm wine, apetition, or you're going to drink champagne and wine.
Wow.
You see what I mean?
Right.
Even the food that you choose to eat for the ceremony, you know, everything. So it is important for us to recognize that these are not just mere choices, but they are media impressions created for us to choose that which is not of us, but of, foreign origins.
Okay.
And it's just to take our money away from us. It's no better. Marriage is not defined by how you did it. but how you live it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And our people have been successfully getting married and have had this over thousands of years. What is so wrong with what they did?
Nothing.
Okay. We are alive today, healthy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So this makes us know we have to embrace our roots and all. So I want to pick some of your songs and delve into. Let's pick the Mary song. We'll talk about Mary and we'll talk about Moko Mukrum. Moko Mukrum more importantly. Please probe on that before I give my notion, thinking you were throwing shades at those of us in diaspora. So when I heard the Moko Mukrum song, I had to come back to Ghana. Mamba Mukrum. What was the whole thing, like writing the song? What went into it? What were you thinking?
Moko Mukrum is more than just coming back.
Right.
It is coming back to a certain mentality. You understand? You can be in Ghana and not be Ghanaian.
Right.
In your lifestyle, in any way, shape, or form. You can be outside and be even more Ghanaian than Ghanaians who are here.
Wow.
Okay. So it is about Kowukrom, no? It is embracing who you really are.
Great.
You understand?
Great.
It is living the joys and the fun and the happiness of celebrating your heritage. That this is how I was made. This is who I am. Okay? And I take it all on board. So you study everything you can about your history, your people. You understand how great civilizations have yielded you to be here today, you know, and stop believing a lot of the propaganda and lies.
Facade.
And then here, so know who you are. Man, above all, know yourself. You know, it's very easy to think you know yourself when you are being misled.
Right.
It's very, very important to know who you are. And a lot of the silliness falls off when you accept who you are.
Right. And let's go to the Mary.
So
How about the Mary?
maybe it's just it's like a poetry with a play on words. You know, it's like, you know, in life you go through various phases, and when you're through with one, you know that you're through with it.
Right.
You see what I mean? So you go through phases. When you're a child, you know, what is important, and you get through it.
Right.
You, as you in your adolescence, you also go through it, and you know, in your old age too. But even though you know, life still goes on.
Right.
So
That was great.
yeah.
That's what we were trying to. Then finally Intasi.
I thought you would ask me about it.
I was going to come to
You're going to come to that. Okay. Intasi is actually a track that I made when I was in Legon, and it's to protest the grotesque inequalities between male and female. You know, that I remember very clearly when we were children or when we were growing up, like a guy goes to do something with a girl, and then when it's over, the girl is ashamed and the guy is a hero. You know, I was Charlie, this guy did deeper, or you know, so this guy be cheap cry, Charlie.
Eclair.
You know, Claire has to say the chopper. So the girl is spoiled, but you where you go for it,
Hero,
you are a hero.
You did.
So I thought that this is really grossly unfair.
Right.
You know, and it needs to be spoken about. You know, because we just accept it as if it's normal, but it's not normal.
At all.
And if you go back traditionally, you find that women are very much cherished within our tradition. You know, that women are actually the salt of the earth, you know, and everything, the whole social fabric works through womanhood. And it's important that we celebrate it as such. So for me, that was very important.
And then finally, my favorite, Ebun. The last one. What's the title?
Etwe.
Etwe.
Do you know what Etwe means?
No. I don't want to think that's what I'm thinking about.
Well, Ete is the name of a god in Cape Coast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And every year they have something called Bakatoi.
Oh, so the name is from Bakatui. Right.
So Ete is the god that oversees that, and Bakatoi, Cape Coast is more or less
A
fishing
community.
And so Bakatoi is very crucial. It's like a harvest to them, and every year, traditionally we do festivals to celebrate the harvest and thank God for a good year or pray for a better year next year, that kind of thing. So Ete is a very important God, traditionally. Okay. Now, if you listen to the words, it says, Mobrowa, Eboboa brewa puso puso, Oho nebohu ukwasia aye, Ehwa, Bopo wenim shemaye, Abeshi wuhi shemaye, Awa inye bibini inye bruni, Smobrowa, Dabenda ni bobe wenyu afhwe asim, Oho nebohu to bele, Awa den John, but then which shama when you are no, right? And that one there I was in one crofo, right? It's yes a pay on Betty, wow, because he cheery you, you're fret it here, you're fret Jesus, there, come and deliver us because we're getting lost. Yeah, Mwazi.
Wow, those are deep words. Right. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, I told you this is, now I'm looking for another word for special, overly special edition of the Star Sports Show. We've been here with Ben Brako. We'll be going for another commercial break. When we come back, more stories unfold. Do stay with us. So welcome back to the Star Sports Show on GracedLife TV. We've been here with Ben Brako, and the conversation continues. So in 2019, you championed the year of return thing and all. And are we continuing this year? Probably after the return or something.
Beyond the return.
Beyond the return. Yeah. What are we doing?
Well, you see, the return was called the year of return. Okay, which signal like I think the 300 years or so of slavery. So it opened a window for our people to be able to come back. But a year is not enough.
Right.
Okay, it has to be a permanent opening. So it was changed to beyond the return. So after the return, just to let people know that it's a continuing thing.
Right.
So I think that's a very good thing. Our door has to be open to our brethren and our blood permanently. So the diaspora know that. You see, if you go to America, the Italians know they are from Italy. The Latinos know where they are from. The English know where they are from. Right. But the blacks do not have a hometown, a reference point. And I think that we owe them that, to let them know that Africa is their home. Anytime, those who can see the light and accept that this is the reality, they always welcome home. We should not see them as aliens and foreigners. These are our people, who through history have gone and built great nations, but we have to welcome them home. Yeah. So the return is very, very important.
Very.
It's creating a bond between the home and then our lost brethren, or our displaced, I should say, yes.
Thank you so much. So, Ben, are you still receiving royalties for the work you've done?
I should hope so. Why, you think I shouldn't receive any
Oh, you
more?
should. Do they still keep coming?
Well, it's not something to write them about, but it's there.
Right.
It's not big time. This is one of the key things is our industry is not that well organized and that well patronized.
Okay.
That we don't receive our due from the media, including you guys.
Yes.
You know, let me be point blank. We're not, like hiding anything.
Right.
But the media does not pay for the music it uses.
Right.
Okay? And it affects our income.
Very.
So it's a terrible thing to abuse other people's property,
Right.
and then act like you're concerned. You understand?
I take offense in that. Right. So if you had the opportunity to be probably the president of the Musicians Association, what one thing would you like to do differently?
Well, there is the Musicians Union, which is a whole different thing from, the other one that collects royalties. So they both have their remit. One is a union. That means it groups the musicians together and tries to protect their interests and rights, and the other one, of course, is just a collecting society that tries to collect what is due, royalties due to the musicians. I think that Ghanaians have a certain attitude as if music is just a free product, but it's not. Right. It is somebody's intellectual property. And it needs to be paid for.
Right.
It's not a lot, but it's somebody's livelihood. So we have to correct that, and we have to enforce the law. The laws are there, but they're not being enforced. It's like, as you know, sometimes you can't blame the media people too much because they too, I know for a fact that they're not being paid well, and therefore stuff like Payola and stuff, results because the media people are supposed to find a way to earn their own living. Right. You understand? And those who are clever and wicked, they exploit musicians. Right. And it's become the order of the day in a way, so it's a sad indictment. Yeah. So at least if the media was paying us for what they use of our products, wouldn't be too bad. Right. But so they don't pay us, and we have to pay to actually get our stuff on the media. Serious. It's an upside down world, which needs correction.
Yeah, it hopes to get better.
Yeah.
Right. So if there's anybody looking at you at home watching the show, like, I like this man, he's my mentor and all, and I'd like to be like him when I grew up, like, what would you tell him or her? This is your camera.
This is my camera.
This one.
So when you finish, leave it here.
Right.
Yeah. Well, basically, I think that it is important to do things and act out of love.
Right.
Love is the fundamental. God himself is love. Love is the only creative factor in the whole world.
Right.
So if you do things out of love, it just resonates with nature, and therefore nature is able to lift you, and help you succeed better. So love and passion, but like they say, man above all, know yourself. Okay, so know yourself, know your origins, know your history, know your people, and understand your culture, and then work from there.
Right.
Okay, don't be an ape, don't be an idiot. Don't just follow.
No, never. So don't just follow. Be wise. And are there any upcoming projects from your side? What should we look out for?
Well, yeah, I think I told you about the forum.
Right.
Yeah, which we're doing. But one of my main projects, which I feel is one of my assignments, if God will give me the time to do it, is the creation of something called the Ikura, where we are remodeling and doing trying to create a model village.
Right.
Okay? We want to bring life into the village. Because if you go around looking at villages, very seldom will you see a dynamic village that, you know, showing any love and care, you know, about the surroundings, about the buildings, about the streets, about sewage, you know, about the surroundings, you know. It's all, you know, because people have lost that touch with it.
Right.
So it's important to, and one of the biggest problems we have in Ghana is housing, you know, because most people cannot afford decent housing.
Not at all.
You know, and let's face it, you know, if we don't solve that, then what the hell are we doing? If we can just come and build skyscrapers all over the place, but our people cannot touch it.
Right.
What are we doing for our genuine people? You know, how are they living? What is their standard of living? What is their, you know, the health provisions for them? You know, what facilities do they have to live their lives happily and joyfully?
Right.
You know, that's not the focus of our government. You know, so it is important for some of us to focus on the fundamental issues, okay? Because one thing we have to know is that government is not really about us, okay? It is a process that was set up by foreigners and is still serving those purposes. But we have to identify with our own people and make the difference. You know, it's been, the mindset has been creating that we have to wait for government. Always the chiefs, and you go to school, they are asking government, come and do this. Everybody's asking government, come and do this. And the government is not even there. Okay?
Right.
But we as a people can make a difference by making changes that affect our lives and livelihood.
Great.
And, you know, so Ikra is about that. It's about identifying with our origins again. It's about being proud to belong to your own village. And it's about working with your village to uplift the lifestyle and standard of living.
Right.
It's about creating housing that people can afford, which is decent, from local materials, which they're already using. You understand? It's about creating health posts, you know, in every village, you know, so that anybody with a health issue can get some attention, you know, and, you know, you don't need a big, you know, cement hospital. All you need is a decent place where, you know, health can be dispensed from.
Right.
You know, so it's very simple things. You know, so that's the concept of the crowd we're working on.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, if the Accra project starts, just trust your people will be there to cover it for you. Ben Brako, thank you so much for coming on the show. We are done.
Oh, we're done. Thank you
done.
so much. Good.
So we didn't bother you that much.
Not too much.
Not too much, right? So your final words before we leave. Any message for people? We are not in normal times. We are drawing closer to the polls. So what do you have to say?
I would say that the same advice I've been giving, you know, be real. I mean, don't follow stupidity and nonsense. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
Don't be an ape, you know, be real. We are Bibini.
Right.
Always remember that.
Right.
You represent the black race and always do things to show that you come from somewhere. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay. I told you this was a special edition. It was the very best of the best. We've been here with Ben Brako, one of Ghana's finest, Ghana's best, Ghana's ace high life artists. My name is Mr. Zeke, and this has been the Star Sports Show on GracedLife TV. This show was proudly sponsored by Force Foods Vegetable Oil. There's a new vegetable oil on the market which contains no cholesterol and rich in vitamin A and E, and also by Epiphany Textiles. Epiphany has all kinds of fabrics for every occasion. You'll find Epiphany Textiles at Epiphany Textiles on Instagram. Until then, the show comes away same time next week.